But you see, my brother is missing the point. This government, in the number of years, months that they've been in power, it feels almost like years, okay? And he's talking about, oh, there's no scandal. I'm just wondering that maybe he tuned off for some time, and then now he's just tuning back in. Look, what is most scandalous than a president aiming to subjugate an entire arm of government so he can use it to achieve a certain political end? For the first time in our history, at least this Fourth Republic, the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is on track to remove a Chief Justice whose crime you can't remember. You can't,
Why
you
President
can't
Mahama?
begin to relate to.
Why President Mahama?
Because, Master, the conversations that are ongoing, you see the processes that are unfolding. There isn't any cause for what is happening to remove the Chief Justice. I can't see it. There's no probable cause to say that Chief Justice has done something egregious, so for which reason she must be received. The process itself tells you that. And I'm shocked that the media is acquiescing to this. The media is quiet. The media is silent. The media is not speaking. Somehow in our country now, the media is impotent.
That's not true.
Well, because if in this country, a Chief Justice is being removed, because you and I, yesterday, when my good friend Carlos was hit in the neck twice, and perhaps other things happened to him. His space was abused, was collected, unilaterally taken to national security and abused, okay? The only redress you can see is to go to court. The court is our refuge in a democracy. A government aims to subjugate that. And where we are now, you see what is happening in the courts. Anything that goes is reversed. Anything that goes is just scrapped. The matter in our courts now, you can almost predict going to court now that this is going to be the outcome. But this is a party in opposition that were pointing fingers to say that somebody was leading a judiciary that was giving rulings in one direction. So now, what President Mahama wants to achieve is to have his own Chief Justice, okay, so they can advance a certain agenda. He says that he's not aware of any scandal. Huh?
Corruption scandal.
Corruption scandal, yes, whatever we want to call it. Moro, are you not aware of that scandalous nolli prosequi that the Attorney General is filed? In the case of Honorable Collins Dauda, in the Sagremi matter, a case where 200 million of our money has been squandered to procure a certain number of housing units that we don't have it, but that money we can't find it, and people are standing trial for that, and you say, no, we are not interested.
Richard, let me ask you this.
No, well, let me say, you didn't ask him any question.
No,
No,
it's
hold on, I'm coming.
Because of what you said.
No, there's no
It will
question.
help you.
These are matters. It's okay. You help me after. Moro, are you trying to tell me that there is no probable cause in that matter, that Sagrami matter, such that the Attorney General says he's not interested? Very shocking. Very, very, very shocking.
Okay.
The sitting governor of Bank of Ghana, okay, complete. We are not interested. But these were cases that were being looked at. The finance minister, we are not interested. Let him go. So you see a connection from what is happening to the judiciary, okay, and the outcomes that are being procured by the NDC government under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. My brother says he has not seen any scandal. Senior, you have not seen any scandal. But then recently, your national organizer, and then I think first vice or second vice, third vice or so of your party, the the twin brother of Abanga, I don't remember his name. Is it Yakubu Abanga? I think we have Yakubu Abanga.
Yes, it's Abanga.
Yes, Abanga. I don't know.
Yes.
Right. We have the other twin, and they have the other.
Yes.
I think it's their third vice or so. Engaged in galamsey. Okay, in galamsey. Now, what is corruption? It's an abuse. Okay, well, it's an abuse of your leverage for personal end. They're abusing their offices to enrich themselves. And you say you haven't heard any corruption. Massa, this whole thing, where is the report? The ECG container matter. Where is the report? There's a report. Where is the report? Why has the government gone certainly silent on that matter? Okay? There are NDC operatives involved in that matter. Lead in that matter.
Okay.
So don't tell us that you have not heard about corruption. Okay. In fact, everything that has happened so far, even in relation to the narrative that is being fed to Ghanaians, is scandalous. Okay? For you to say to us that you promise to do 24-hour economy, Massa, which 24-hour economy you propagated as a quick fix to the problems that we're having in our country. You came 7 months on, 8 months in, you have not budgeted a peso for the thing. What is more scandalous than that? What is more corrupt than that? So they, again, going by the definition of corruption, they leverage their opposition influence to deceive Ghanaians. That's an abuse. It's an abuse. You understand? So when we're talking about corruption, please don't tell us about this whole matter that you have not heard anything. In fact, about the what is called the Declaration of Asset Matters, right? What happened? President Mahama was clear in his view that if you haven't filed that document by a certain date, the consequences was clear. When people abused that, what happened? He gave them a pat on the back. You understand? What is more scandalous than that? You understand? So we are engaged with a government that says one thing in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening looks entirely different. Okay? It's entirely a scam situation that we're engaged in. So please don't tell us that. But for me, what advice I can give my brother is that they should tread cautiously. Because what is happening is that quickly they have dissipated any of the goodwills they had in their account. Their goodwill account is now zero, and they now are a government whose lies are exposed at this moment. Okay. So for me, it is not a question of me trading back and forth with him in terms of who is corrupt or who is not corrupt. Ghanaians are seeing the full length of the NDC.
Now I am happy that when I challenge my brother and friend to any corruption scandal that this government led by President Mahama has recorded in our 7 months in office, he could only give the example of the Chief Justice as an example of corruption scandal. Galamsey, 24-hour economy, not being able to, have not fulfilled the 24-hour economy. And so to him, those are examples of corruption scandals. I'm so happy that our fierce critic is unable to point at a single corruption scandal against us. If 24-hour economy is what you use as an example of corruption scandal, then you guys have a long way to go. And when you talk about abuse of pressmen in this country,
nobody talks about it. We haven't talked about
you
that
did.
yet.
You have
said the
forgotten.
press. No. He said the press is quiet.
You said they are impotent. They have suddenly become impotent. Yeah, but I'm surprised that today, you've forgotten
that one.
You said the media has become easier.
Because I'm referring to the Chief Justice matter, which they are silent on.
In any case, I don't want us to deviate into the issue of the Chief Justice.
But that deviation is a matter.
There's always a first time for everything. In fact, for the first time in our republic, our fourth republic, a sitting president sacked an EC chair, a constitutionally insulated officer. There's nothing. Look, if you ask me, I would place the office of the EC chair far above that of the Chief Justice. You know why? A deliberate mistake on the part of the EC chair can bend this country. If a judge rules against you, you have the opportunity to go for an appeal.
So,
and so,
you see,
the role of the EC chair,
I respond.
It's you.
It was Shout or say, who declared President Akufo-Addo president-elect in 2016. You came, and through some contrived reasons, you removed her from office. Was she not constitutionally insulated? Was she not? And the worst thing is that the flimsy reasons, procurement issues, the procurement law is very clear and contemplates punishment when people violate the law. Nowhere in the procurement law is it stated that when someone breaches the law, you sack her, you remove her. That was what Akufo-Addo did. In fact, even at a time, the so-called petitioners, people who had petitioned Akufo-Addo to remove Charlotte Osei, one or two of them had even died. And yet, Akufo-Addo still proceeded. In fact, he received an unsigned petition. And so you are not bothered about all these issues that surrounded the removal of Charlotte Osei, that the petition was unsigned. At the time the president referred the matter to the Council of State, some of the petitioners had died. We still don't know the petitioners. And yet you removed them based on the procurement law, and you saw nothing wrong with that. Today, the same Ghanaians who are alive, who have signed their petition to President Mahama, you have problems with that. At the time when we complained about Charlotte Osei, you told us that President Akufo-Addo was only acting as a conveyor belt. If he was only acting as a conveyor belt, what makes the presidency of Akufo-Addo better than that of John Mahama? Are we governing with a different constitution? Is President Mahama also not a conveyor belt? What has he done apart from going by the dictates of the constitution? I challenge you or any MPP person to point to a single breach of procedure in the ongoing hearing of the Chief Justice. You have not been able to do that. You have not been able to do that. Why are you so much interested in protecting her as a Chief Justice? Is it the case that you are very sure that when she is retained as a Chief Justice, she would be able to protect you with all the corruption scandals that we engage in? Is that what we fear for? We have not done anything wrong with the removal. In fact, even as we speak today, if you ask me, if you ask President Mahama, we cannot tell you if she'll be removed. She's only going through a legitimate process. If the process vindicates her, she'll get back to her office. If she's found guilty, she would go. No one is above the law. She herself is on record to have said that the law is the law. You can make whatever noise you want to make. The law is the law. From her own mouth. And so we are saying that, look, she's going through the due process.